Okay, that should be a whole lot better. Good evening, YouTube fans. I do apologize, I forgot to turn the microphone on. Since I started using this wireless mic, it's one of those that I don't remember to turn it on, sadly. Hopefully the volume's up loud enough. Good evening, Jeremy. So, one of the questions I had asked to me yesterday was, why I was wearing the blue gloves. Well, part of it was kind of a hint, um, as far as with what this is. So that's really what part of it is. The other side of that too is I was trying my best to keep fingerprints to a minimum. As far as throughout the entire build, so good evening, Ruben. Good evening, Mr. Presley. So hopefully I've got the microphone up loud enough. It still has a little bit more. I thought it was a little loud on one of the videos, so I actually turned it down some. So hopefully it's loud enough. If not, I can still adjust the volume accordingly. So what we're going to actually be using for this build is focus, maybe. Come on. Come on, camera. Anyways, it's a 2879C if we can get the crazy camera to actually focus. I've got another camera I've been looking at, so hopefully the next one will let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit. But we're actually using the 2879C for this particular build. A lot of it's the fact that it's one that's already in my memory, so that's kind of the reason why I wanted to use that. But no, the gloves were actually kind of a hint as far as with what was coming up with the build. So we're using our one-shot wonder today. I've got a few of these little sample sizes, which I already use, a different type of thermal grease than what most people do. But this year I've made a couple little specialties and things like that. So let's sit down in there. And I really like using gloves as far as for doing the thermal grease, because that stuff gets everywhere, whether it's one transistor or 50. So I don't know where I put my cotton gloves. Otherwise I would have wore my white cotton gloves for this particular build. I'm gonna have to actually pull that transistor back up, clean that all out because I put it on the wrong side. Let me get some Q-tips. So 9/11. I know there's several of us that remember the original time and everything, as far as when it happened. But with all the uncertainty and, our current times and everything that's been going on, I kind of wanted to do something special. Hopefully this will brighten somebody's day. Okay, so on this amp, one of the things I want to talk about is the fact that what I've actually done was went back, and there's actually a copper board that's the full length of this that actually sits underneath for a copper spreader. So that's one of the one of the things that we're doing as far as to dissipate the heat, since we're dealing with such a small area. Let's go ahead and make sure there's nothing in there. But almost all the components that I've chose for this actually have a little bit of significance. I'll kind of go through part of those as I go along. That out of the way. Hey, good evening, Squirrel. We're actually doing really good this evening. Hey, Gary. Well, thank you, Gary. Like I said, so I'm sure you can probably guess which branch we're actually honoring this. Excuse me, which branch we're actually honoring this year. Like I said, given everything, I'm sure, like I said, that you can probably figure it out. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with just everything in general that's went on here in the last year. I think that those that are in the police force, I think, are kind of they've had to deal with a lot of political bullcrap this year that I don't really think is right. And a lot of people, I think, forget that who our actual first line of defense is, under the circumstances. So that's kind of the reason why I chose to do this for the police this year. Okay. So everything's had to be hand fitted to this cabinet. The board itself had to actually be trimmed down on the sides. Obviously, the copper heatsink that's been polished not on just one side, but both sides, the entire length of it. Both have been polished and then set down. All the screws have had to be hand fitted. And most of this during the entire build, because I've gotten actually a lot of stuff that I've prepped. I have been prepping actually on this over the last few weeks. Most all of it has been basically done, all by hand, obviously. but it's been done with gloves. And it's more just, more for a symbolic reason. Like I said, it is also to kind of help reduce some of the fingerprints and everything else that, get associated with some of the fine detail work. So right now I'm just going through, just cleaning down to the circuit board as far as the fine little intricate parts of it. That way we get a good bond as far as on the solder joint. But most of the components that I have, like I said, chose, some of the guys don't even know why I bought what I bought from them or what was going to go in other than just a typical build. Well, hello, Warren. Popcorn. Bill. So most all the parts are as much American as I can buy, that's went into this. I've actually thought about this for, a very, very long time before I actually come up with this as far as on the build. Most of the parts, like I said, as many as I could find anyways, are American. Obviously, the transistors are not, but, well, it's what we've got to work with. But just for example, the pill strip, those were actually designed and created by a veteran. Same thing with the transformers we're using. I'm not sure where he actually, I know he buys them through a company here in the US as far as for the ferrite, but I actually had him make me up several transformers. So these have actually been made by, a US veteran. So we're actually going to be using these as well. Like I said, as much as I could possibly get, it's just like, generally most of the wire that I've got, because of the fact that it's what they call new old stock, that's also been like Theramax and some of the other companies like that. They are US companies, so that's the reason why we use that. Plus, we've already seen in the past what some of the wiring that you purchase through some of that. Well, we all know what we get, so we've seen several videos. Get this soldered down. Doesn't have to be great right there because we got to put the transformers in. So we just want a good tack. I know on a one pill, most generally you're not going to see somebody go through and put a capacitor on the input. Unfortunately, when you're using the 2879C series, I have found that the input actually lays down just a little bit better So that's part of the reason why we're doing this. Yes, actually, I do know that. But if I don't burn a hole, that means that I've kept my fingers where they need to be. But once we get to a certain point, I'll actually take the gloves off, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay. Now, to make my life a lot easier, so I know I've got one more small scrap piece. Let me grab my resistor here that I need. What's going on, buddy? Hopefully you're having a better day than you've had here in the last few weeks, Art. I had a little talk with you here the other day as far as on my way to, I think it was, yeah, it was on my way down to the Carolinas, where we met up with three and a few of the other people down there. Yeah, it's not the one I wanted to grab earlier. There we go. Well, hopefully everybody's having a great weekend. I'm actually going to be stuck inside the facility here today and putting my time in. So work, work, work. But meanwhile, I do get to have a little fun with you guys. And I found here lately, as far as on these one pills, I've actually found that the SMD capacitors seem to work really well right here on this input. Okay. Yeah, I don't have much of this blue wire. That's the reason why I'm trying not to be wasteful. I just now got a notification that I'm live on YouTube. That's crazy the way they do that stuff. Boy, you guys are really quiet tonight. Jeez, a beats. Early in the afternoon, everybody's enjoying their day. Yeah, everything's going pretty good, Donnie. Thank you. Yeah, taking a little time to relax actually before I go in and get my day in. Nothing like the night shift. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but the locusts are really picking up this year. Still need a capacitor for that side. Been trying to pull everything between last night and then again before I actually started the video. I was trying to get everything, like I said, all put together and ready for this because unfortunately I know that I am limited in the evenings as far as whenever I do videos now. I mean, it's just part of the new job, so all right, Gary, well, you take care, buddy. Please be sure to join in with us there as far as at least on the replay. Like I said, I know you've got a lot going on and everything, so like I said, hopefully, there we go. So hopefully everything goes well, and we'll catch you on the we'll catch you on the replay, I guess. Do, 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 do. Sure, that's what I want before I actually permanently set that one in place. Oops, almost forgot. Give me a second. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna need my other clippers. Got me a little tab here for foot on the back of the transistor, or excuse me, transformer, not transistor. That way we know we don't have to worry too much about Arky and Sparky having fun. So I've kind of moved the camera around. I don't know if this is better or not. It kind of is and kind of isn't, I guess. So, just trying something just a little different. So you guys have got any good stories or anything for us for 9/11? Things that maybe have been going on, things that have went on. Well, that's cool. I don't know if that was done on Facebook or YouTube or anything like that, Donnie, but I would definitely be interested in seeing that. I mean, it's been pretty quiet here on the home front, if you will, as far as on everything like that. But, with working the night shift, um, I've had to sleep through the biggest share of today. So, let's see. On the memorial. Okay. Thank you. Oh, okay. I got a guy that's going to be starting on some concrete work here for me in the evenings. He's going to knock out these concrete slabs here in front of the shop, and we're going to get some new concrete poured. I've been pretty fortunate the last year or so since I've made some modifications to the entrance. Sadly, though, it's still, I've not had any issues as far as water getting back in the shop and flooding me out. But I'm actually going to get that taken care of here as far as to where I should never have to worry about it ever again. So I'm going to go ahead and have it poured from there all the way up to the house. And that way, that'll make my life a whole lot easier too. Tacked in place. Oops. So as I was talking earlier today, as far as on this, this is actually going to go to one of the guys here on my YouTube channel. Since we've all been kind of supportive of each other, that's, another reason why I'm actually doing this is, to support you guys as well, since you're out here supporting me and, enjoying the hobby. So, it is a memorial piece, but, I think the recipient is definitely going to be happy that he receives this. So, like I said, it's no cost to them, other than the fact that I just hope that they, enjoy it. Trusty earbuds always work, yeah. Let's see. Oh, okay. I'll look at those here a little later on. And the only thing about disc capacitors is the fact that they're not as symmetrical as you hope. But again, it's what we've got to work with. I'm just thankful to have all these parts on hand to actually do stuff like this. I know some of the builders, they've been really fighting just trying to find parts, and I have, bought parts and bought parts and bought parts over the last several years. So, I'm actually to the point now where, I don't need a whole lot at any given time as far as on the small components, which is great for me. Obviously, just like transistors, there's times where, we still have issues getting transistors. Of course, I've tried to remedy that, with all the extra hours and stuff that I've worked at my other job, where I've actually kind of bought up larger supplies so that I've got, longer sustainability. Okay. That one tacked in place. And yes, these are definitely overkill. The only problem is I had one amp that actually failed earlier this year, and I've been using those same components now for 3 years, and I don't know if it just has to do with the fact that it just one bad one out of 1,000 or what, but didn't want to take a chance. So I actually special ordered these. I mean, granted, I don't do that many one pill builds, but even if it's a like a 1x4 or 1x6 or something like that, I just didn't want to have any issues. So it's part of the reason why these are, like I said, way overkill. The problem is with the components aren't really designed hardly anymore with RF in mind. So these instead of rated for like 100, 250 volts or something like that, these are actually rated for like 2 kV. Now that is 2 kV based on the Japanese, or excuse me, not Japanese, but the Chinese version of 2,000 volts. So that's part of the reason why I went with a 2 kV. They're still kind of expensive, but I'm just trying to find something that has enough girth that can actually go ahead and dissipate heat. Once you actually start having a buildup, due to the RF and everything, that was the big thing that I wanted dissipate, heat dissipation. So that's part of the reason why whenever you're looking at some of these as far as here earlier this year, and probably wondering, why is he using something that's just like humongously huge? Well, that's the reason behind it. Actually, do I want to do it this way this time? Yeah, go back the same way I've been doing it. And in the form of the C-series transistors, this is another one of those where I have found that in a one pill, generally speaking, I don't typically put a, isn't that awful? Flyback resistor. I usually, or feedback, I'm sorry, not flyback, or feedback. Some call it one, some call it the other. But anyways, that's part of the reason why I'm putting this in there is I found that on the C's, they kind of like it. You got to make a few slight adjustments to your, to your feedback. You know, you're still using typical, typical 100 ohm, but instead of the 104s that generally everybody uses, I found that they like a 103 a little bit better. Okay. There's also heatsink compound between the copper spreader that's underneath here and the extruded aluminum cabinet. There's actually heatsink compound also located between those two patterns as well. I'm trying everything that I can to go ahead and make sure that we've got what we need in order to go ahead and make sure that there's no issues. All right. So this is the first time I'm actually building in this kind of cabinet. So you guys may have to bear with me on some of it. And then the artwork for this is the outside of the cabinet. And that's actually what we have for the inside. Talked to my buddy Steve over there at CPC and told him what I was doing. Brought that into him. And he said, sure, I'll make you something up. So I got to give him props. He come up with the idea. The only thing I wished he would have done on the outside, and I didn't have time to go back. I was actually going to have this one actually done in blue as far as with a Rainmaker. So let's set that up here. That light off of it maybe. Okay. So you're going to see me probably put this thing together 2 or 3 times just to get everything all figured out. Do. I may have to cut my little block down too. Didn't think about that screw being in the way. And we'll worry about that here in a minute. Some of the components I've already pre-cut based on, a general build, so we'll modify as we go along and go from there. Okay. Yeah, our big thing is we got to make sure we get a relay in there first, and then we'll work around everything else based on that. Okay. And cutters. Yeah, once in a while, I'm sure you guys have probably seen where I've used that. That is a very thin 3M double-sided adhesive. I use that from time to time on different things where height may or may not be an issue, depending on the circumstance and stuff. So I'm just going to add me a little piece there to kind of help make up for part of the difference. That way, when we go to mount our relay in place, we can go from there. That way I don't have any issues. I may be able to go ahead and pull that out and use a piece of another double, the thicker stuff that I've been using. There we go. Yeah, if I get to it in time, that stuff, you're able to get it right back up. Once it sets, typically about 10 or 12 hours, you can get it up, but it's really going to be hard. Yeah, sadly, when I ordered these circuit boards, since this is not the cabinet that they were designed for, you know, they're not as long as I'd like. Not that I really need it, but it does make life a little easier. I mean, I've got more room to function with this. You know, it's just I got to make one slight little alteration. Okay. But I do like the fact that I got a little extra room compared to some of the other cabinets too. Okay, so I can actually slip that probably all the way back there. But I do want to notch that. Bear with me, guys. We're going to use the Dremel, so I'll have a little noise, a little more noise than I like. All right. Yeah, I think that'll give me the room I need. Nope, I'm going to have to cut it. Well, you guys are being awful quiet. Hello, Jeffrey. Yeah, I think you tried to call earlier and I actually forgot to get back with you. It's just I know today I've been kind of on limited time since I woke up because I wanted to try to make sure that I got this done before I had to get ready for work. So I do apologize for not getting back with you. Do 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 do. Yeah, I actually forgot. Yeah, I actually had forgotten because you and I don't talk on a super regular basis. Yeah, I actually had forgotten. Um, that you're also in the same group of people as far as we're, you know, part of the first line of defense. I know you're semi-retired, but I know you still are there for the call too. Yeah, it's just going to take a few weeks for me to get everything all figured out as far as with the new schedule and stuff. So hopefully you guys will bear with me here if I don't get back with you. Plus, I've got a new phone, and some notifications I get, some I don't. Of course, I do sleep typically until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so I don't hear the phone ring whenever I'm dead to the world. Okay. Where is the other piece? I know I didn't put them up. There they are. I actually had to break into another roll of solder here earlier today or yesterday. It's just about out, so just hard to believe because I had about 15 or 20 rolls of solder that I've had for what I thought was a long time, and um, just actually really surprised at how fast I've went through them. I've only got about 4 or 5 rolls actually left. I don't know if you're still in there or not, Jeffrey, but this is the outside. Like I said, I've got a new camera. I've got a new camera coming. It's not a real expensive one, but it's supposed to be able to where I can manually go back and refocus. So I'm hoping that takes care of some of the issues. Unfortunately, some of the equipment to do the videos get pretty expensive. So, just trying to stay up with that. The new microphone that has been great. At least I don't have to worry about whether people can hear me or not. Going back and rewatching the videos a few times, see how it sounds. And sometimes you don't realize just how much time you actually put into something so simple as a one pill. There we go. Sometimes it's just simply amazing. Give me just a second here.
I'm gonna pull your new stuff so I don't get
Yeah.
concrete chipping in it.
Yeah. Here you go.
Just
little button. Yeah.
Where you put it, just pull it forward some.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah, just pull it forward. Yeah. Guys are here. They're starting to bust up the concrete, so they need to move my Jeep and get it out of the way. They don't want to see all that stuff pummeling my truck. That reminds me, I've got a couple of orders I need to actually get pulled too. Still got to get a shirt and a hat off. Got to get, let's see, what else have I got? Got several different little piddly things. Okay, thank you. I wish there was just more time in the day, guys. Okay. I guess I'm just in deep thought, guys. That's the reason why I've not been sitting there talking like I normally do. Sometimes we get to thinking and everything else, and just kind of lose track of everything. Any good barbecues or anything going on that I'm missing out on? Good food? It's one thing I've yet to do all year is fire up the grill. There we go. Not really had a whole lot of time this year to do that. Good old pork chops. Man, that sounds good. Or sometimes it's just nice to even have just a simple hot dog on the grill too. Ah, leave that on there for a second because we still got to do the key up circuit. Just laying over here somewhere. I'll tell you, it's going to be nice to actually get some concrete down in front between the shop and here. No more wading through the mud in the middle of the winter. That will be a blessing in itself. It's crazy because, what was it? Yeah, ironically enough, you know, 1 year after 9/11, I actually was pouring the concrete floor for my garage out there, and then, you know, here, granted, I'm not doing the physical work. I actually have to pay to have it done this time, but I'm getting concrete work started today, so that's kind of nice. Ironically, I guess that's the time to do it, I guess. You know, sadly, one of my best friends, he's passed away. He actually helped me on the same, you know, on the same day as well, to sit there and do the concrete the last time. A gentleman that's out there doing it now used to actually be my neighbor, but he's been in construction all his life. Yeah, Squirrel, it's actually, you know, that's one of the things. I mean, they're wanting to, you know, they're wanting us to forget. They're also wanting us to forget about, you know, history and everything else. And, you know, history's there to teach us. You know, and that was the whole purpose, I thought, you know, when we went to school, was to, you know, be taught about history so that we aren't as likely to make the same mistakes twice. You know, and oftentimes, you know, they say history, you know, repeats itself, you know, maybe in another form, but history repeats itself, you know, and it's really sad when you hear that, because, you know, we see in, you know, so many aspects of what's all going on today, and, you know, in our current, you know, current events, we're actually seeing that same thing. We're actually seeing we're actually seeing history starting to repeat itself yet again. Hopefully, since this is just a lapel mic, hopefully you guys aren't hearing him beat up and bust out the old concrete that's already cracked. So, Squirrel, have you been doing any skip shooting here lately? I haven't heard you out on the airways or anything. I know some of it just has to do with conditions, obviously, and then we've got, well, like right now, my radio's not even on, but I've been trying to be more, concentrating on what's going on in here. Okay. Tell you, these new glasses, they have really been working out, guys. The eyes are getting better, although I'm still restricted to, the bifocals, which, granted, I know that's part of old age, but, thankfully I've made a pretty good recovery. I've been in seven different doctor's appointments for my eyes this year. I've got one more on the 17th, and that will be the end of all the surgeries and eye appointments and all that good stuff for this year. So finally coming to an end. The last appointment I had, Dr. Harder actually had told me that doing very, very well. Of course, I told him it's still there's still a little bit of a battle with it, but overall it's not bad, or hasn't been. Definitely much better than I've been, especially the last year and a half. I am 49 this year. And I think I've been going on like 69. At least the way my eyes have been. Good evening.
Hello.
What'd you do? Bring me a sandwich?
I bought two for myself.
Oh, okay.
If you're hungry,
Ah,
I don't mind sharing.
yep. A little later I'll eat. All right. So I know you guys have seen bits and pieces and sneak peeks and what have you. So this is what we're looking at as far as for the face. You know, still don't have any stickers or anything, and I'm not sure that I'm going to do that since we've already got it on the top of the cabinet. So we've got our inset blue light that's going to be in there. Do a quick run through here and double check, make sure we got everything before I start assembling it. That way, if there's anything else, which I'm going to go ahead and get that wiring put in too, because that's going to be a whole lot easier. But I want to make sure I've got as much done, obviously, before I start assembling the cabinet, based on the fact that I'm not going to be able to stick my hands in there too much. So I should be able to do the hot wire feed and my ground yet. Still got to get that in there. I'll probably go ahead and get that done actually before I actually even start assembling the case. But we're going to grab another soda first. There you go. All right. Da, 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 da. It is Sunday. What do you want?
So gotta get that black pepper. No.
So since it's Sunday, we'll have a beer, guys. Root beer. You'll be 56 in February. You're not too far ahead of me on the curve there, squirrel. Of course, I've still got at least another 15 years of hard labor, and then probably another 5 or 10 of slow down labor, where we actually start slowing down. Yeah. Well, it's Saturday for some, but it's also my Sunday. There they are. Yeah, just because it says Saturday doesn't mean it's technically Saturday. It's Sunday for me. I'm actually surprised Charles hadn't popped in there. All right, Squirrel, we'll see you here in a few. Those can be put in the trash over there if you would, please. Okay. I'm just trying to get a few things moved out of the way here for a little more elbow room, guys. Okay. I'm going to stick one more little filter cap in here too. It's not really going to add a whole lot of power per se, but it's just more for just the actual filtering. Now, the more I've been getting a chance to read about different things and different components and, you know, why certain things are a good idea, some things aren't. Which I know if we put mass amounts of capacitance on the inside, it does help as far as to sustain, but you know, we're just after, you know, just a nice, clean, simple build. And we got our stinger wire. It reminds me, looking at this board, I'll have to show you guys here after a while. I got another prototype board that gentleman had sent me. He kind of wanted to know what my take was on it. I didn't get a chance to get into huge amounts of detail with him as far as on why it's made quite the way it is. But I thought it was kind of unique. It's not going to work for this particular application, but I think what it amounts to is just the fact that it's a already pre-tinned copper board. So I think that's part of it. But he does have the grounds separated. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the reasoning was. But he wanted me to try a couple of these out, see what I thought. The phenolic is absolutely wonderful. So like I said, I don't know. I need to get into a little more detail on that. Find out some of the pros and cons. From my understanding, I guess he can go ahead and recreate the same boards that I'm getting right now. Granted, it's the same thing that everybody else is using. Not have to order several at a time. The only downfall that I see to really ordering those and using those, which they'd be great for, custom builds. But at the same token, I still do a lot with, the pre-manufactured cabinets that are what everybody else is using, which is from Fat Boy. So, it's, whenever you're buying in, complete sets, it's actually just a little cheaper, than just buying either just the cabinet and or just the heat sink. So I don't know. It's one of those I just got to play with it, see, where I can use it, my applications, all that good stuff. Never ceases to amaze me, though, how many parts actually go into such a small little build. Okay. Well, on the 6LQ6s, if you would have asked me about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I would have said yes. If I have any more, they may be out in the garage, buried. I actually sold, I had some over here in my rollaway that I've been using for parts and stuff. And a gentleman came in and had asked me all kinds of different questions and stuff. And, I've still got a small tube tester for, just basic things. I've got a receiver that one day I'll actually get to for myself. And it's one of those that I remember from my childhood. And I've been really wanting to go through and restore it and get it up and get it up and in a usable fashion. Because I actually want to, when I finally get time to clean up and get all the stuff out of the house, which that's part of what's going to be going on here with what's going on outside right now today. Eventually, I'm wanting to go ahead and make a little table and get that old ham radio, well, receiver, not ham radio, but receiver. I want to actually get it set up to where I could actually use it in the house. It's one of the few things that I actually enjoy too, is sitting down and listening to some of the broadcasts. And yes, I know I could do it on the computer and I could do it this way and I could do it that way, but it's just not the same as listening on an old tube type, broadcaster. So, it's one of those things that I really want to get back to doing some things the old fashioned way. All right, let me cut a couple of small pieces of wire. That way we can get this taken care of here for our connections there. And I think we're down to the nuts and bolts of it. So let's grab this. See about how long we need to make those. .6LF. The 6LQs. I don't know. I may have a couple of 6LFs floating around somewhere. When I seen the 6LQ, I automatically assumed you were probably looking just for replacements for the 6LQ. I didn't even think about the 6LF because it's obviously a different breed of animal all the way around. I may have some. It might be by the end of the year that I actually get to that point. I am actually looking to do a small add-on to the shop, so I might get part of that because I'm going to try to go through some of that stuff out in the garage that's sitting in boxes and move it over to the storage that's going to be here for the shop. It's just I've got so many power supplies and modules and cabinets and everything else that's for different builds. I need to get that out of my front room so bad. So if I come across them, I will try and remember. If you would just get back with me here. Let's see, September, October. Get with me in November. Remember the 5th of November. Get with me, and I'll see if I've come across them by then, because I've got another storage building that's also in the mix. So.
I'll just get the jackhammer.
Okay, buddy. Yep.
Most sidewalks are.
Yep. Yeah, I don't even know how thick that concrete is, but I'm sure it's yeah.
Usually bust up pretty easy. But anyway, I'll get it out there tomorrow probably.
Okay, buddy.
All right, Mark.
Thank you. Yeah, I figured that's what he was going to wind up having to do. Where's that other little short piece I had? There it is. It's crazy. It says 75, but it sure don't feel like it. I'm actually starting to sweat bullets in here. Let's see. 3.6 LFs. Yeah, like I said, I'll look and I'll see if you haven't come across them by then. I got a friend of mine that I know does have some. However, I don't know how many of them he needs for the builds he's got going on. He's doing a lot of repair work, and I actually have to pull some Teflon wire because he's doing some major upgrades to what he's got. So, and they're actually for customers. So I don't know if he's got any spares or they are very difficult to find. Yeah, that's actually how I got really started into building amplifiers, was actually dealing with the 6LQ6 tubes back in the day. That's what I actually started building with. The problem is they were just very, very difficult to obtain, even 25 years ago. Granted, they were much more plentiful 25 years ago than what they are today, but let me get this camera moved back just a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna have to find a different camera mount. I've been trying a couple different things, and this one's not too terribly bad, but it's just not quite what I need. I can't adjust it exactly the way I want it. Okay. All right. I think what we need to do is go ahead and put this one side on. Oh, I can get the rest of that wiring ran for the face and start buttoning it up. Yeah, when I seen these cabinets, I actually thought this would be a little easier in my head than what it's actually turned out to be. as far as on the building of. Which now I just ordered six of these cabinets. Wow, 2 hours. And even with as much stuff as I already had laid out before we started. Ooh, 20 LF6s. Wow. No, that I don't believe I have for you, buddy. I am familiar with those, but wow. Yeah, that one's going to be a little more. That one's going to be a little bit more of a. It's going to be a lot more of a challenge, actually. Again, I know one individual that's got some, but I know he's doing repair work, and Lord, I have no idea what the cost of those are today. If you get with me tomorrow afternoon, I've got a couple companies that I've got saved on the computer. I'll be happy to go ahead and give you those, give you their information, and they may be able to help you as far as locate what you're needing. The 20 LFs, I know I don't have any of those. God, I haven't seen those in like 15 years even walk in the door. $20 LF6. Is that a Mako maybe that you're putting back together? I'm thinking it was Mako anyways that had the 20 LF6s. There we go. That'll make my life a little easier when I head and put the feet on. They can always be taken off. That's what I wanted. Since these are a little bit smaller than my hemostats. If I don't pull this blue tape out of my way now, I'm going to have some serious problems when I go to pull it off later. And I got to grab my Allen keys. There we go. Okay, gonna loosen that back up. If I don't catch that again, we'll be fine. Golden Eagle 750. I've seen pictures. Love to know where some of you guys come up with this stuff. I wanted to put that where I can get to it, because I may, just because I built one way one time doesn't mean that it's going to tune the same. So I want to get in there and be able to replace that a little easier. Normally I like to set those right in front of the transformer, but as challenging as what it's going to be, make sure that's where I can get to it easy enough. And all I gotta do is just pop the side loose. There it is. Okay. It won't be but just a few minutes and we'll actually be able to test this thing out, see where it tunes out at. Kind of hoping I'd hear from my buddy Carl. He's usually in here once in a while. I know he kind of likes stuff like this. Okay. Ruben, I think he fell asleep on me. He hasn't chimed in a while. Of course, he's probably, yes, dear. Yes, dear. There we go. Yeah, some of the antique stuff, Squirrel, I will have to say I do enjoy. I don't enjoy working on it anymore, and a lot of it has to do with, parts are not as plentiful as what they once were for stuff like that. Granted, I know there's a lot of the retro stuff that's kind of halfway coming back, but it's still not the same, and they're still putting a lot of electronics even into a lot of the retro stuff, that they've come up with for a lot of this equipment. And a lot of it's the fact that they just, they don't want to, as much as they want to go backwards, they don't at the same time. Okay, so the only thing that I see I need to do there, which I'll probably have to take that side back loose. I'm almost sure I'm going to have to in order to get in there to get that grounding tab taken care of. There we go. We'll see. I think I've already got you in there, but I didn't hear my phone ring either or get the message. I know I've got a couple of messages, but we'll see where we're at here in a few. Yeah. Pull these back and I can get in there with no problem. won't be bad at all to sit there and get this one in at all. To give myself just a little bit of wiggle room for finessing. Okay. I'm going to modify that one. I can actually shorten it up just a little bit. Leastwise, that's my goal. Hey, now I got a notification. I have to plug my microphone in there after this one because my microphone's getting ready to die, I think. Okay. Let me see which charger I need for that. I'll plug this in while we're talking. That way I know I've got enough to finish up what we got going on here. don't see my charging cord. Everything else is switched over as far as all the phones that I've got now are all switched over to this USB-C. And I don't have very many of the old I guess the mini USB. That's just crazy. Let's see here. And that's the other style. All right, guys, bear with me here. I'm going to go in the house here. We're going to try to find a cord. That way I know I don't die before we get this thing done.
You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, that he raised mine. And I raised her when our parents abandoned us. To me, she's been more like a daughter than a sister.
Sorry about the delay, guys. Like I said, I just want to try to get a cord here real quick. One for the iPhone, of course. Oh, I hear you. It's crazy trying to find a crazy cord. Especially whenever you know you've got like 20 or 30 of these crazy things. All right. All right, bear with me here, guys. Technology is great when it works, guys. There we go. I'll just have to make sure I leave that plugged in tonight. I don't know where my regular cord is that I use for charging, which I mean, I know it's kind of short, but all right. So like I said, I do apologize for the inconvenience on that. You had a nap, get up, and I'm on. All right. Grab my glasses again. Do. Much happier. Okay, in theory, we should have all of our components in place. Just double checking myself here. Actually, let's just go ahead and leave this off. That way we can go ahead and check out the tune and see where it's at. That's always good. Not. Okay. Let's see. $250. Start out here. So we'll get our connections all made up here to the 5,000 watt bird dummy load and our cables hooked up. The Stinger wire is so nice and flexible. Okay, get some cables hooked up. Okay. Hey, I even guessed the right switch the first time. Let's get her. All right, so just for checking, what we're going to do is I'm going to actually use the President Walker. Okay. Power supply on. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Audio. Audio. Okay, so I have to do a little tuning on the input, which that's what I expected. Figuring I'll probably have to go down, but I'll find out here in just a minute. Hello. Okay, so we're going to have to go up with it just a little bit. It's actually kind of unusual. Hello. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Hello, audio, audio, audio. All right. So actually, before I do that, we're going to go ahead and add another part. Since every one of these is different. Start you with your reference point, and then make modifications according. Hello, audio, audio. 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 Okay. So that definitely helped. Okay, and that should be enough where I can get that cord out of the way. Yep. Now this still may not be enough, but it's got it to a serviceable point at this point. So we'll go ahead and put this in there and see how it's all working on the meters. Turn you guys around where you can see. And I'll fine tune this in a little later. Okay. All right, so that's about the best I'm going to be able to give you guys without changing the camera and all kinds of other stuff at the moment. So I'm going to pull out the 250 watt slug. We're going to put a 50 watt in peak. That way I can show you as far as what we're putting into it. Okay, so peak power, this is just radio drive only. Let's turn that up a little bit. All right. So there's about 2 watt dead key. Hello, audio. So about 25, 26 watts peak. Go over here to average. Same scale, 50 watt scale. Audio. So about 16 bird is what we've got going into it. All right. So let's flip that back off of average and put it back on peak. All right, so 250 watts in our 1X position for peak, 100 watts RMS going back to the 5,000 going to the 5,000 watt bird dummy load, 5 watt slug in reverse for reflect, and 5 watt slug in reverse for our input tune. So the input's still just a little high. Like I said, I'll have to go back and do a little bit of tuning on it, but we'll probably finish that part of it up tomorrow. All right, so let's turn this on. So 100 watt scale, we got basically a 20 watt dead key. Hello, audio. Audio. About 90 watts peak. Audio. And 75 on the bird. Almost nothing on the reflect going back to the antenna. Audio. Audio. I do have about 1.5 watts as far as on the input. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and work that down a little bit more. Like I said, we just got our references. So, like I said, I'll work on the tune. We'll get that polished in as far as on the last little bit on the input. Get that squared away. But otherwise, we've got it up and going. Like I said, I'll get this tuned out tomorrow because unfortunately we're getting really close to the end of my time. Since it is 9 o'clock, I'm going to actually have to get ready and leave for work. So hopefully, guys, you've enjoyed the, you've enjoyed this. Now, actually, let's go turn it around this way. There we go. So, like I said, I'll get this finished up as far as on the last little bit. We'll get that finished up on the tune and everything. But as far as who's going to be the lucky recipient, that is actually going to be Gary Hill. I'm actually going to send this to him down there in Florida. Like I said, we're going to get this tuned out tomorrow. Shouldn't take long as far as to get that finished up. But I'll do that. We'll get you guys some numbers on that. Like I said, I know I've got a lot going on. That's the main reason why it's, just to the point where, like I said, I'm just literally running out of time. But has to do with working for a living. So, all right, guys. Like I said, well, you can kind of see what it looks like here. That little LED bleed off. Like I said, it's actually inset, but that way it's not so bright for the person actually running. But Gary, whenever you see this and you actually watch the whole thing through, yeah, napping on the job. But if you would, send me a text message. That way I can get your address. Like I said, I'm going to try to get this finished up as far as on the tune out on the input. We'll get that down. I'll try to do a quick video yet this week on it to finish that part of it off. And that way I can get it mailed off by the end of the week to you. So, all right, guys, I appreciate it. Like I said, I wished I had more time to spend with you. You know, we've been out here 3 hours, which is a lot of time as far as on a one pill. But, you know, just kind of wanted to do a recap for the day. Wanted to go through, show you guys the build and do that live, spend some time with you out here. But like I said, we'll get that polished off on the input tune, get that down where it needs to be. And we will see you guys later this week on the next live feed. All right, everybody, appreciate it. Like I said, thanks for watching. Gary, if you would, like I said, get with me, buddy. That way I can get your info and we can get it out to you. Thanks a lot. Have a great evening, guys.